about be kind because everyone is fighting a battle that you know nothing about. And that is so true. So true. Okay. I don't know where to start this. This year broke me in ways I did not know I could be broken. I mean, I've had some hard years in the past. I've had financial difficulties. I've had loss of friends and family just in relationships. Had death. Had to grieve. I had a lot of different things like that. You know, job changes, home improvements, or home ownership issues. I've had some difficult years, but 2025, it was like a gut punch, then a knee to the groin, then turning around and getting shoved down into the dirt, then curb stomped, and then just more and more pain the entire time. Just like a continual pain. And just when I thought I got through something else would pop up, something else would come seemingly out of nowhere and just completely clock me again. I mean, I got my bell rung so many times this year, to the point that I was like, why even try anymore? Why try in my career? Why try in relationships? Why try in my finances? Like, I was really, really down for a minute. And I feel like a lot of people experienced that this year. I know it wasn't just me, but this is my video, so I'm just going to talk about me for a second. There was a deep sense this year of loss and failure. And I know I'm not a failure. It's just I experienced it in different areas. That's something I can confidently say. I don't know what the next year is going to bring. I don't know how I'm going to move forward. I don't know how I'm going to repair my life. I don't know how I'm going to grow from this. I know all of those things are going to happen. The one thing I've always learned, and the one thing that I've experienced my entire life, is the ability to bounce back and to make a plan and to do something new. This year, it seemed like every single time I tried to make a plan and tried to do something new, it just wasn't worth it. It got shot down. It got completely obliterated. It was just, hey, I'm gonna do this. And then it didn't happen. I haven't published a video in how long? And the funny thing is, I have filmed a bunch of content this year. And when I sat down to edit it, I actually filmed something here that was pretty significant to me. And I never put it out. I never published it. Look at that. Pretty cool. I'm on a trail, by the way. I'm not being followed. Just trying to get my steps in. Go for a walkie walk. So I know this takes about 45 minutes to do this trail. It's a big loop, it just goes in a circle. So I am going to keep my pace, keep my speed, and I'll hit my 45 minutes, get my steps, and then go home, go make my HR smoothie, which is blueberry with extra banana, because the banana really makes the difference. 2025 really, really shook me. It shook everything I thought I knew about myself. It shook all of my hopes and dreams. It shook every plan that I had at the end of 2024, coming into a completely new environment in 2025. You know, there's some sayings that I think fit here. It felt like I was cut open and laid bare, and that I was just like stripped down to my bare minimum of who I am as a person. And I don't mean to get like super existential here, super woo-woo. That wasn't the point of this video. It honestly wasn't. I just wanted to come in and talk for a minute because I know the last video I posted was, hey, I'm gonna do a vlog. And then immediately after that, one of my dogs started having health issues, and I put everything else to the side. And then there was a switch up in my day job, and then a bunch of other stuff went down. And I never published any more videos. So I want to say I'm back. I want to say there's going to be a ton of content coming from me this coming year, and that there's going to be more videos being published. You know, there was, so if you don't know, I was raised as a evangelical Christian, and went to church every Sunday for the first like 22 years of my life. So a lot of that is just knowledge I have. And there's this story in the Bible of a widow who came to Jesus and said, hey, I have nothing. The debt collectors are coming, and they're basically going to take my kids. They're going to take my 2 sons and put them into slavery in order to pay off the debts left by my late husband. What do I do? Or Jesus asked, what do you have? She said, I've got nothing except for like this 1 jar of oil. And he tells her, go get every single empty container, empty vessel that you have, and pour out your oil. So as the story goes, this widow had her son get all the empty containers in the house, and she started pouring out her oil, and it just kept pouring, and the oil filled up all the other jars, and they took those jars and they went and sold them off. It's a parable. I don't know if that counts as a parable, actually. It's a story in the Bible. Whether you agree with the Bible being true or not, that's not the point. Whether you agree with Christianity or religion, that's not the point. The point is, she took what she had and she poured it out, and it made way for her. And there's something about 2025 where I feel like I've lost everything. I feel like I've lost everyone, and I have nothing. And I heard it so clearly. You could call it God, you could call it the universe, you could call it my own intuition, call it whatever you want, because I had not read this chapter. So here I am, feeling like I've lost everything, feeling like the walls are closing in, and that the last little bit that I have is about to be taken from me. Feeling like I've just been repeatedly kicked in the teeth, and almost like I'm a loser and a failure. And that's not the case. I have lost, and I have failed in instances, but that's not who I am. And when I tell you that I heard so clearly, pour out your oil, and I had no idea what that meant. I don't know what it's saying. I don't know what my oil is. Hadn't read this scripture in a while. Hadn't heard this story. There's like there's like trails and things in here that people can go and walk on. I'm just on the main one that goes around this. It's like just over 2 miles. It's like 2.18 or 2.22, something like that. Because I always go just a little bit extra to get that 2.25 miles. I had not heard this story in a while. I had not read this scripture. Nothing sparked this. But in the midst of all of this change and all of this turmoil and all of this hurt, and all of this disappointment and all of this just difficult season in my life, in the midst of all of this, I just heard it so quietly, like deep inside myself: pour out your oil. And I said, well, what does that mean? So I started writing again, and I started putting content out onto LinkedIn. And then I started podcasting again pretty regularly. And in the span of a few months, I think I put out like 20 episodes. Coming around to the other side of the mountain, we're going down here, and then it circles around. So it kind of creates this little wind tunnel. I was not expecting it to get this windy. But I started podcasting, I started writing, and just doing some of the creative things I know to do. Found some other photographers, went on this awesome photo walk, really, really started making connections again. And that was what I needed in this season. And it has absolutely been helping, for sure. I have been creating because I am a creator. It's what I do. It's what I know. All of this is just to say, well, actually, let me back up. So I started writing again. Hello, beautiful. Hi. Look at the doggy. I started writing. I started podcasting. I started connecting again. And in the midst of all of this, it was like the desire came back. It was like the desire came back, and I actually, the best way I can describe it is that where 2025 was kicking my butt, I turned around and started kicking butt back. And I am glad I did, because it lit the spark, and it brought back the desire, but it also offered me a completely clean slate. The goals that I had at the beginning of the year, they don't matter. The plans that I made at the beginning of the year absolutely don't matter. Who I was at the beginning of the year, irrelevant. Who I am now, that's what's important. Because as the new year is here, I'm starting over, I'm starting fresh, but I'm starting from exactly where I am right now. And with that, we're going to have to see what it means. So there's new plans, there's new goals, there's new desires, there's new interest. There are times this year I felt like a shell of the person I was before. There were times I felt unworthy, misguided, lied to, insignificant. There were a couple of times I would even say I felt stupid. There were times this year where I did what I needed to in order to survive. And just to be clear, that's not anything illegal or immoral. It's not what I mean. It's just there's at least 2 times I can think of when I made a decision to do something and to make a move that maybe even 2 years ago I would have been completely against. Maybe even a year ago, year and a half, I would have been completely against this move. And it wasn't a gain of like new information on the subject matter. It was when I was in that situation and I needed to like take care of myself and my dogs. I did what I needed to. And I did. I took care of myself, took care of my dogs, and then I dealt with the consequences of that decision later down the road. Okay, hit a mile. Cool. Oh, shoestring came undone. Hold on, we're gonna tie this. Oh, okay, put you right there. I didn't knot the little bow. Oh yeah, this one was coming undone too. So that's definitely, let's see what this was about. I don't know what that second one was. Nothing important apparently. So, what I was saying was that there were times this year I made decisions that kind of, yeah, that's fine, that kind of didn't align with my core values. But in the immediate situation, and mind you, I had put myself in these situations. So I'm not looking for sympathy. There's no one to blame except for myself. It was a result. It was the consequences of my own actions. I understand that. What I'm saying is that I'm about to be lapped by these guys again. And I've eyed the tiger. These guys are doing it right. I need to step my game up because I just got lapped. But I really am just out here for a walk. Although I do think by the end of the year, I will be at a point where I can jog this. I don't think I can do it right now. Your boy's out of shape. One of my goals this year is to lose my gut, get healthy. And mind you, since I kind of woke up and started working towards things, I've lost almost 20 pounds. It's over a few months, I think maybe 3 or 4. But the point I was making is that I did what I needed to survive. And I'm okay with that. Like, you can't go back and change the past. All you can do is move forward. And I am moving forward. But man, did it suck. 2025 broke me in ways I did not know I could be broken. So, 2026, the only way I can go is up. Any lower than this is just not an option, honestly. This is one of those things where I have skills, I have knowledge, I have resources and equipment. You know, I'm just out here. I've got my camera, I've got my DJI mic plugged in, got the dead cat on it for a little bit of wind reduction, so I hope that's not too ridiculous. But this is going up just the way it is. If you're this far into the video, you'll know that there's some light editing on this. So, I mean, it's common that at the end of the year, you look back, you reflect, this is what I accomplished this year, these were my goals, this is what I didn't do, here's where I went, here's how I grew. And I can tell you that I probably spent half of the year at different points. You know, I don't think that's accurate. I would say probably 1/3 of the year I probably spent in a depressive state. And not many people knew it, because I was still getting up, I was still going to work, I was still taking a shower and occasionally meeting up with friends for drinks, and I was, you know, posting all this awesome content on my podcast and on LinkedIn. I got back out and went to a few events and started taking pictures again. But inside, I wouldn't even say I was dying. I was just dead. I was like laying there on the floor, just in limbo, trying to do whatever I could to pull myself out of this hellish nightmare that I had found myself in throughout the year. And one thing I'll tell you, get therapy. Absolutely, reach out. There's free resources out there. There's paid resources out there. Do what you need to do, but go talk to a professional, because it helps so much. So much. And it's important for you to realize you can't do everything on your own. So I had a few key people that I leaned on, but therapy is really what made the difference. So again, the year is coming to a close, and I just want to I want to flip off 2025. I want to kick it in the teeth. This year took so much from me, so much. And again, I feel like a fraction, a shell of the guy I was a few years ago. There we go. So, why put this all in a video, and why share this at all? Why put it in a video? Mainly it's because I believe many people feel the same way or feel similar about this year as I do. You know, heated rivalry came along at the end of the year to definitely heal our souls. Stranger Things is doing its final end game. We'll see what happens in the finale. But it has been a journey to get to where I am now. And I believe all of us are on our own journeys, and all of us have our own battles. There's a saying about be kind, because everyone is fighting a battle that you know nothing about. And that is so true. So true. This year, I went through two of the hardest, absolutely devastating situations I have ever been in my entire life. And I was talking to a mentor at one point, and he said, we hadn't spoken in a while, and he was just giving out advice. He had like office hours first thing. I popped in just to say hello. He called me up, and we were talking, and I gave him kind of like a very high level overview. And he goes, wow, Johnny, it sounds like you really went through something recently. And I said, no, it's more like I went through 4 somethings back to back to back recently. And if that is not the most accurate description, and that's the first half. Okay, I think this is going to be a huge wind tunnel.
I just hiked up all of that, and I still got more to go. See, I gotta go up all of this. But I went through like 4 crazy, devastating experiences, one after the other, and kind of put me on my butt. And I think if anyone, no matter how strong you are, no matter how much support you have, I think if anyone had gone through just one of these, they would understand how I felt. But I went through one, and I don't even think I had got my head up for water. And I went through the second one, I felt like I was drowning. And then I got hit with the third one. And I think the third one kind of short-circuited my brain. And then the fourth one hit. I go through all of this, just fighting for survival and hoping that I somehow make it through. And I kind of did. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. There is hope. You are worth continuing. You are worth going on. And I'm telling you, when you get to the point where you feel like you've lost it all, and you get to the point where you just don't know what to do, just take one step forward. Because that's what I had to do. I took that one step, and I took another step, and I took another step. And these weren't all together. These weren't consecutive steps. I took one step and collapsed on the floor again. Then I got up and took one more step. And then I got to a point where I could take 2. I don't know if I would even say I've recovered, because I don't think that is the appropriate language. I would say that I've continued. And the year that was 2025 feels like it took almost everything. I went from 100 to, 5% says you're alive and breathing, right? Then I'm at like a solid 7. I got kicked in the teeth over and over. I got punched in the gut over and over. I got, honestly, I feel like I got curb stomped. I got sucker punched, hip checked. I feel like I had my feet stepped on while we were dancing. I met some of the absolute worst people I have ever met in my entire life this year. I'm talking liars and manipulators, people who were just very clearly only out for themselves, or people who would like to stir up trouble just because they could. They didn't get anything out of it. They just wanted to stir up trouble. I met some people this year that just made me question, like, why am I trying to be a good person? And then later, I realized, you know what? I don't care if they're not, I still am. And that made me get up, and that made me start going back to the gym, eating healthy, doing my blueberry and banana smoothies, and coming out to this trail. So actually, is this it? Yeah, this is it. So this, let's see if I can do this. There's a trail on the other side of this little hill that circles around and then goes up here all the way to the top, and you can't see it, but on the other side of this summit there is like a ton of really cool like there's like 2 more summits up there, but there's a bench at the top. You can sit, you can see the entire city, you can see the entire valley actually from up there, I guess. There's a good, like, it's a good hike to the top, but it is absolutely worth it. And that was one of the things I did. I actually did it on my birthday. Got all the way to the top, filmed it, got some good stuff. And then I was using my professional camera, my Canon, and then the battery died. And I had not brought my, like, a second battery to go with it. So I will be doing that again. May film it on my phone, but it's definitely something that is on the list to do again, because it is, I'll drop in a little bit of the video that I took so you can see kind of the path going up, and then you can see the view. What I do know is that journey's not over until you're 6 feet into the ground. And even then, it's just the beginning of a different journey. 2025 is coming to a close. I don't know what 2026 holds. I know what I want it to hold. I know what I want to get out of it. Okay, we're gonna get it. I know exactly where I'm gonna walk to. I'm gonna turn around and walk back, and that'll be my 2.25. So, I don't know what 2026 is gonna hold for me. I know what I want it to hold. I know what I want to accomplish and what I want to get out of it. I believe in making that happen. Now, granted, some of the things that happened in 2025 didn't see them coming. I absolutely didn't see them coming. A couple of them were completely out of my control, and all I could control was how I reacted to them. And in some instances, I reacted extremely poorly because I was not sure how to react. They were new experiences for me. I believe life is what you make of it. And I want to make it a good one. I want 2026 to be a good year, especially after the absolute crap show that 2025 was. Okay, I think we're gonna circle back right here. Yep, 2.27. What I do know is that I am thankful for many of the things that led to 2025. I am thankful that I got into a position that I could still experience love, joy, hopefulness in 2025. The year as a whole sucked. Absolutely. But what got me there? Okay, this is where I go up. I'm thankful for. So, that being said, 2025, you can kick rocks, you can pound sand. 2026, let's see what you got. Hey, if this has resonated with you, I would love for you to like, subscribe, or leave a comment. Click the bell to be notified because there will be fresh videos coming soon. 2025 is over. Let's see what we can do in 2026. More soon.